Welcome to the Group Home Riches Podcast. If you have the desire to be your own boss, create your own schedule, and become financially free while at the same time helping people in need, then you've come to the right place. At GroupHomeRiches.com, we teach people exactly like yourself how to get started in the group home business, and on this podcast, you're going to hear their stories firsthand.
Jose, what's up, man?
Andy, I thought you were a myth.
No, dude. No, I may be a legend, but I'm not a myth. What's up, dude? So you're in Ohio, right?
I am, yes, sir. I am.
So, sorry, I sound so excited. What happens is I'm like a complete Luddite technophobe. Not really a technophobe, but I don't really know how to use the internet like Brandon does. So this is all real new to us, and Brandon's kind of the master when he's a little younger than I am. So when it comes to Skype and all this other jazz, so like the fact that we're probably 10 years behind the wave of podcasts, but just the fact that we're actually starting to do this kind of gets me pumped up.
Oh, you have an exciting life. That's good. That's good.
Andy just recently learned how to use his auxiliary cord in his car.
Yeah, Brandon, tell him that story. That's kind of funny.
We were driving. It was about a 45-minute drive to go check out some real estate stuff, and I think we were just listening to like the phone, like in the car, and I'm like, "Man, where's your auxiliary cord?" She's like, "What? What is that?" I'm like
I'm a complete moron when it comes to some of this stuff, you know.
Pull over to this gas station and we'll listen to what's on your phone through your car speakers. It was like,
yeah, my son teach me how to do that too.
You know, Jose, though, the good thing is that if you know that I'm that dumb, and you know that I can barely even use the internet, it really gives hope, I think, to a lot of people.
Yeah.
You know, because I mean, the cool thing with this business, as we'll kind of chat about, is that it's really rudimentary. It's really elementary. I mean, I always joke around, you know, when I'm blasting text messages or emails out to everybody, I'm like, it's the second oldest profession in the world. I mean, we all know what the first oldest profession is, but this is literally the second oldest profession in the world. It's not even normal land.
Mm-hmm.
We lost you for a sec, Andy.
Yeah.
You're putting out. I mean, and there's so much demand. It's incredible.
Are you jumping up and down, Andy, there? I could barely hear you.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't know what happened. No, I was joking around saying it's the second oldest profession in the world.
Yes.
So Brandon, I'll let you kind of run with it, but since I haven't really chatted with Jose, I know Jose, you and I have corresponded via email. But Brandon, do you mind if I just ask Jose a couple of questions?
Yeah, for sure. Let's just wing it again, man. I kind of wanted to. I wanted like the members and everybody who's listening to the podcast to just kind of hear Jose's story and where he came from and where he's at now, and then we'll do kind of a live strategy session with Jose. So kick it off with the questions and we'll take it from there.
Yeah, I was actually just going to ask you, Jose, the exact same thing that Brandon just kind of said. Yeah, tell me a little bit about your background. Where are you from? Where were you born? Where'd you grow up? You're in Ohio now, aren't you?
I'm in Ohio. I came to the U.S. when I was 14.
From where?
From Mexico. You know English.
¿Dónde?
Michoacán.
Michoacán, qué bueno. ¿Y por qué estaba en Ohio? Todo el mundo va a Chicago, Dallas y otros lugares, pero la mayoría del tiempo ellos no van a Ohio.
Ajá, primero fui a California. So
¿Dónde?
East Los Angeles. That's
there
right.
Yeah, I guess we probably shouldn't be speaking in Spanish for our viewers, but sweet, man. Yeah. So you went to East LA, and then where'd you go after that?
Yeah, so my father was a migrant worker, so he started working in the fields, and so did I. I dropped out of school, and then after a couple of years of working there, I mean, he worked really hard, so he got a very hard work ethic, and I think the same thing that he was doing. I actually beat him at picking strawberry, putting them in those boxes that you buy at the supermarket.
Yeah.
But I mean, even if you do your best, that's like $150 day is like a greatest day, you know?
Yeah. Now, was that in Fresno? I would imagine that was more Central Valley, right?
No, actually, that was in Southern California in a place called Whittier, California, in front of Rio Hondo College. And I told my dad, hey, Dad, one day I'm going to go to that college because the police, the cadets were training and singing cadences. And he's like, estás loco. You're crazy, man.
Hey, déjame decirte algo. Do you know who went to Whittier College?
Who?
Why don't you get one of the old presidents in the United States? I'm pretty sure Richard Nixon went there.
Okay.
Yeah. So that's pretty sweet, man. So anyways,
yeah.
So and then how long did that all last? Like, when did you drop out of school?
1991.
Okay.
91. And then I saw that my brothers, I'm the oldest of 6, and my brothers didn't want to go to school. And I said, Dad, I'm going to continue to work, but I'm going to go to school at night. So every day at the end of the day, I would take my little notebook and go to school to learn English. And I met somebody that was doing high school at night. And so I did high school at night. And they said, why don't you go to the college? The same college that I was supposed not to think about. I ended up going to that college, graduated from there with honors, transferred to UCLA in 98. So everything happened really fast, within awesome. 8 years, not knowing English to graduating from UCLA. I mean, it went really fast. And then I was in the military, so that's how I ended up in Ohio. I met somebody in the Air Force that said,
Jose, man, I'm not joking around. I got goosebumps listening to this story.
Sometimes I get emotional, but today is not about me. Let's talk about group homes.
I know, man. You got to understand, this is literally, and I know this may sound a little bit cheesy, but like, dude, this is the American dream, man. This is the American dream. I do not think that you could, that anybody could tell a better story. Literally the American dream, without question, man. People come to this country because opportunity is here, and I mean, you're the essence of it. I love it, dude. I absolutely love hearing stories like this.
Thank you. Yeah, and well, you have your own story. Why don't you tell us your story, Andy? How did you start?
Okay, hang on. I've got contractors texting me. Yeah, so I wish that I could say that I climbed a mountain similar to the one that you've already scaled up, but long story short, I did go to college. My parents paid for me to go to college, so I was very fortunate from that standpoint. I didn't graduate with any debt. Obviously, I had a mother and a father that loved me. They were phenomenal. Very, very, very hardworking, just like your father. My dad would be up at 4:30 in the morning, and he'd be home at 5 or 6. I'd see him on the weekends and whatnot, but he worked his tail off. I mean, and he did it. He did it for us. I mean, hell, not to get off topic here, but I was chatting with him the other day, and we were talking about this last job that he had, and basically how his hair went completely white during that last probably 5 to 6 years, and it was very stressful for him, but he plowed through it, but he did it for his family. So anyway, so I was very fortunate because I was kind of in some respects born from the Lucky Sperm Club. And went to school, didn't graduate with any debt. So when I started, I was not below ground. I mean, I was on even ground. And prior to that, I had actually been selling cutlery, Cutco knives. A lot of people have probably heard of that company. Anyways, I did very well over there. So I learned how to sell. Over there. I was always very parsimonious, always very frugal with my money. And so I saved up my money selling knives, bought a car, so on and so forth. But I had a small little nest egg, And anyways, when I graduated, I was living on my friend's couch, and probably lived on my buddy's couch, I don't know, maybe for five months or so. And this is back well, it actually wasn't 99, it was 2000. So really before the internet. And anyways, I was looking through the newspaper, and sure enough, there was a couple of ads for a condo. And I had just gotten done reading Rich Dad, Poor Dad. And I'm like, hey, I'm going to do this. So I wound up purchasing a condominium for like $58,000, which probably in today's dollars sounds really cheap. But quite frankly, I overpaid for it back then. So the condo cost me probably about $2,500 of actual cold hard cash to buy, and then the bank financed the rest of it. So, I went in there and they financed it because I had a job. I had a job making $30,000 a year. They used my job to say, hey, this guy will be able to cover his debt service payments, with his $30,000 salary. Well, moved out of my buddy's house, or moved off his couch, moved into the condo. Shortly thereafter, I wound up meeting a friend of a friend, and I convinced the guy to move in with me and pay me $550 a month. And I think my mortgage payment was about $500. So that was really the genesis of how it all began. I mean, I was living for free. So I was living for free, and basically all of my money every single month that I was making after taxes, obviously I needed to eat. And I definitely enjoyed going out and having a good time, but I put it all away. And so I was trying to put away, I don't remember what the number was, but probably, $500 a month, which, remember, it is a lot of money, but I could do this because I was living so cheaply back then. So I think I saved up another probably $5,000, and the unit below me was coming vacant. And I spoke to the lady that was moving out, and she said, hey, you should call the landlord. The landlord's going to want to sell. So I got on the phone, called the landlord, and the landlord, she was like, hey, she was an older lady, and she said, well, this is what I'd like to sell for. And I think I hemmed and hawed with her for a little bit. But at the end of the conversation, she offered to carry the paper for me, meaning that I wasn't going to have to go to the bank. So she financed the property for me. And so anyways, that's how I bought another one. And then I bought another one. I saved up more money. And it's not like this stuff was happening immediately. I mean, this stuff took me, I don't know, probably a year and a half to save up another $5,000. But I saved another $5,000, bought that property. Then I bought another one, rented it out, and I kept going. So I was living well below my means, and I was still selling. So I was generating commissions. And that was really good for me because I learned how to sell. Excuse me, I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. So anyways, I learned how to sell, and I was making my commission, saving up money. And then in, I guess, 2003, I got a different job offer at another company. And I wound up moving. And after I wound up moving, I had a very difficult time managing those properties. So I don't know, a year after that, I sold them. Fortunately, I had bought in a good area. The area that I had bought in was probably not the best area at the time. There was a strip club down the street. There were people that had been carjacked, so on and so forth. But little by little, the area started turning. And so that helped to hone my philosophy on how to buy real estate. I wanted to buy in these kind of C neighborhoods that could turn into B neighborhoods. I was only 22 years old at the time, but it really shaped my lens on how to view real estate. So anyways, fast forward, I wound up doing a 1031 exchange, bought a bunch of real estate, and maybe a year after that, I started realizing that there was an opportunity for me to convert a lot of these rental properties into I didn't know the term back then. I still refer to it obviously as group homes, transition homes, halfway homes, group homes, what have you. And so a bunch of articles in the paper. I kept seeing that people were going to the hospitals. They'd get out of the hospital. They'd have nowhere to go. And I said, hey, you know what? Why don't I do two things? Why don't I help people? But at the same time, why don't I make even more money? So rather than renting a property out for $1,000 where my mortgage payment is like, $600, $700, $800, why don't I, rent the property to myself one of my real estate holding company for $1,000, and then had individuals in the property all paying $500 or $600 or $700 a pop. So that's what I did. I took one property, and I think we probably put about 6 beds in it. And I think I rented, back then I was probably renting the beds out for about, $550 or something. Next thing you know, I had, $3,000, $3,500 a month coming in versus $1,000 coming in. And I was like, this is a pretty good business. So that's really how it all began. And so we figured out exactly what the numbers looked like. And then I took one property, and then I took another property, another property, another property. And I basically just kept converting them all over into, group homes, halfway homes, transitional housing homes, care homes, whatever you want to call them. And that was really, that's how it all began. So.
And thank you, Andy, that was awesome. Is there any one specific demographic that will say, oh, this is the one strategy that surprised me and got me the most money, or was it everything around the same, $500 to $600 per bed?
No, there's definitely going to be niches that pay better than others. Anytime you can get in with local city or county governments, you're gonna make more money. I mean, it's that simple. I mean, obviously, all of our money is going to come in some respects, shape, form, or fashion from the federal government, via SSI, SSDI, what have you. But if you can start getting in with, and again, I mean, it's not for everybody, but if you know how to get in with potentially like the like the white collar criminal investigation department. Man, I mean, you can get guys. We had guys that were like computer hackers, and they got busted by the feds. I mean, these are not dangerous people, Now, maybe the feds don't like what they're doing, but you take those guys in, and all of a sudden you're collecting $1,500 a month out of them, or $2,000 a month out of them. It can start adding up really fast. So that's going to be really good. Navigating within the local jail system is going to be pretty good. And again, you don't want to be taking in axe murderers. I mean, that's not the goal. But people that have been popped for driving while intoxicated, or maybe marijuana possession or something like that. Things happen. And if you can take those people in, and you can get the county to pay you, $25, $35, $45, $55, $65, $85 a day. It can start adding up really fast. I mean, if you do an $85 per day deal, I mean, you're making $25.50 a month just on one client. So that starts really fast.
I want in on that. I think I asked Brandon here that question. He says, "Well, talk to him." So how did you make that connection?
Okay, great question, Jose. So.
How did you make that connection?
Yeah, I'm gonna tell you. So the thing that you have to realize is that you've got to get started. And I'm gonna go back to me just living on my friend's couch, reading the Robert Kiyosaki book, saying, "Hey, I want to buy a condo," and then I bought a condo and I got a roommate. You got to start. You got to get in the game. That's really the most important thing. You can't hit home runs if you can't even get up to bat, right? So you've got to play the game more than anything else. So number one, you got to commit to playing the game. Number two, you've got to get out there and you've got to start networking, and you got to cast a wide net. You will not be able to navigate the system and get in with the feds, get in with the county, get in with the criminal, justice planning department. There's so many niches. Get in with the rehab clinics. The rehab clinics, you can make an arm and a leg from their clients, because a lot of their clients are very wealthy. So I know I'm not sidestepping your question. I'm just answering it, truthfully. Number one, you got to get on the field to start taking some swings. Number two, once you get your name out there, eventually people will hear about you. Okay. So the way that people started hearing about us is we just started housing people. We started housing them for $550 a month. One thing led to another. A caseworker heard about us, and then that caseworker spoke with another caseworker, and then that caseworker probably got transferred over to, a criminal justice planning department. And the next thing you know, she's going, hey, I got $1 million budget to house people this year. Who can I call? Oh, I can call these guys. Hey, Andy, are you interested in housing these people? I know you charge $550 a month, but I've got a budget to give you, $45 a day. Are you interested? Okay, we can do that. What do you need us to do? Well, there's some guidelines that you need to follow. Okay, what sort of guidelines? Well, you need to do X, Y, and Z. And that's how you get into it. And look, every single county, every single state, every single city, municipality is going to be a little bit different. They're all going to have their idiosyncrasies. But the rules hold true. You got to be willing to walk on the field, hold the baseball bat, and be willing to swing. So that's number one. And then also, you definitely can pick the field that you want to play in. So what I recommend, to our coaching clients is, hey, where do you live right now? So in your case, Jose, where in Ohio are you?
I'm in Dayton.
Okay.
Dayton, Ohio.
Dayton, Ohio. I'm going to jump onto my phone. So I would go Dayton. And what's the county? What's the name of the county up there?
Montgomery.
Okay. So I would go and just start looking at like Montgomery County, Ohio, criminal justice planning. And remember, all the vernacular is always going to be a little bit different. So we just got to track it down. So we go Montgomery County, Ohio. All right, Criminal Justice Council. Here you go, dude. All right. So you guys have a Criminal Justice Council. You need to start reaching out to every single one of these people. Barbara Dosick, Law Director, City of Dayton. Sheriff Rob Streck. He is the Montgomery County with the Montgomery County Sheriff's Office. The Executive Director of the County Criminal Justice Council is Joe Spittler. Okay. You start talking to all these people. Juvenile court. Chances are they have got a budget to house these people in some capacity. So your job, what I would highly recommend doing, have you talked to Brandon about, like an email blast system?
Yes.
That's how he got his first home filled.
Good. So what I would do is I'd get on the horn. I'd call up all of these people, or really you just call the county and just figure out what the email address format looks like. It's probably going to be like first name dot last name at ci.montgomery.com or something like that. And literally put them on your email system and just send them emails. The reason I'm a big email proponent is because it doesn't cost you any money. And little by little, they'll start forwarding it to all of their friends in the industry. And then your phone will start blowing up. So I would do that. The other thing that I like doing, even though fax sounds a little bit outdated, I highly recommend using fax because, again, it doesn't cost any money. You can sit in your office and you can put a little one-page document together and blast out faxes. And quite frankly, I mean, I probably did that for the first 6 or 7 months.
Okay.
And I think that's a great idea now because email is awesome because of what you said, but they're probably getting like 100 emails per day.
Yeah.
If you send a fax, I bet you they will get one fax.
Excuse me.
They'll only get one marketing fax from Jose, and then you'll be the only one that had sent them a fax that day, guaranteed.
And definitely send the fax every single day.
Every day. Okay.
Every day. I mean, remember, you've got, and again, I come from more of a marketing background, sales background, more sales, and then I had to learn how to market stuff because I was good at selling, and then I realized, well, if I can't get people in the door, then I'm never going to be able to, sell them, right? So your job is really to market and let these people know about your services. Let them know about your house. So that's one niche that I would go after, Jose. I really like that criminal justice planning niche. The thing that I would do, and now that's within your county. The other thing that I would do is I would reach out to the state of Ohio's, jail system in some capacity, and start, let them know about your system.
We did that like a week or two ago, just using the keywords, transitional housing for prison or something like that. And we found it was right in Dayton on I think it was like the county jail site or something like that. They had information, regarding housing. So I forget the exact link or the website name, but it's all about using those keywords and just digging in. But we found one that was specifically for that, like a specific email for housing providers like yourself to reach out to them. So it's about building that database, and for like specific niches like that. I mean, it's really just about finding that one or two key people. Correct, Andy?
Yeah, absolutely. Because the minute that you can latch on to one caseworker or one social worker or like the administrator, I mean, they're not going to send you all their leads because there's other providers out there that are doing this. But they'll start sending you some of their people. And I mean, quite frankly, if you just have one of those people in your property, you can cover all of your overhead, in the snap of a finger.
I love it.
So, Jose, something else, and I don't know how much you've read like on our blog, but see, back in 2008, 2009, 2010, there was something called the American Recovery and Reinvestment Act that Obama, initiated because obviously we were in a pretty bad recession. Within that American Recovery and Reinvestment Act was something called the Rapid Rehousing Plan. And the whole goal was basically to help these people get out of jail and re-enter society. So you can also type in Montgomery County Rapid Rehousing or re-entry. So what they're trying to do is re-enter these people into society. And again, I am not advocating you taking in, axe murderers and people along those lines. But you know what? If somebody got pulled over for a DUI, and unfortunately didn't have a good attorney or whatever, man, they might have wound up, staying in jail for 12 months or 24 months or whatever it is. And the same thing, they might have had a little bit of marijuana on them or whatever it is. Again, I mean, to each his own, but my philosophy is, hey, I don't really look down on those sort of people. I think that we can, let's help them out.
That's what it's all about, helping them out. Yeah. Because otherwise, they might have a hard time finding a place to live and be homeless. I volunteer at a local jail with my wife, and one of their fears is that they will not have a place to live after they get out, and then they'll end up homeless. That's a real fear for them.
That's a legit fear. We did an email and a blog post about that recently, where it is a large percentage of folks getting out. One, that it's tough to find a job with the background checks, and it's tough to find like with apartment complexes and things like that. They have pretty strict guidelines, so a large percentage of them do end up homeless.
Yeah, and if they don't have a house and they don't have a roof over their head, there's no way they're going to be able to go out and get a job.
Exactly.
Guys, I wanted to share how I started with you guys, and so maybe it can inspire somebody. If Jose knowing Spanish, speaking Spanish can do it, anybody can do it,
Exactly.
I love it. You're absolutely right, man.
I barely know any English. Let me tell you, Andy, I think you and I started communicating. I sent you an email in June. So I purchased the golf course back in June of 2018.
Okay.
And then bought a house in August, 3 months later.
Okay.
And then it was a fixer-upper, so it took me a while to get it going, and brought my first tenant, I think it was October or November.
How much did you pay for it, Jose?
38,000. Wow. Yeah. So about 38,000.
Cool. How big was it?
It's got 4 bedrooms, 1 bath.
Fantastic. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. And then, so we got it finally, I think, connected with Brandon in December. I think it was December. So we got it till the beginning of the year. And then somebody offered me a house, and it was a cheap house. So we bought another one in February. We closed in February.
Good for you. How much did you pay for that one?
$7,000. But that one, yeah.
I love it, man. This is how you really start cleaning up, man. This is fantastic.
Yeah. So I at the beginning of the month, I took money from the rent and I put that as deposit, and so
yes.
So that money from the January or February, I don't remember. I think it's February, helped me to get started on that second home. And then I had just purchased that one, and somebody said, "Hey, I got a house, but guess what? It's got tenants in it. It's got 5 tenants, and it brings about $1,750." And so I stopped whatever I was doing, and I went over there, and we got into a deal that same day for, I think we said 17,000, but with the timing of the closing, prorated rents and stuff, I ended up paying 15,000, around a little over 15,000.
Wonderful, Jose. Man, I love this story. This is like, yeah. Now we're talking about the American dream on steroids.
I love this little detail too. What did you have the tenants that you inherited? What did you have them sign, Jose?
I had them sign the agreement, the licensing agreement right away. So if they don't pay, bye to the hotel business.
Yeah.
Go.
Fantastic. Hey, Jose, let me go back. So the $7,000 house that you bought, how many beds was that one?
Well, that one on paper's got 4, but in the basement there's another room that could be, I don't know. So it's 4.
Okay.
It's basically 4.
Wonderful.
And it's got 2 baths, 4 2.
Okay.
4 beds, 2 bath. And so that one I'm still in the works, because obviously acquisition was kind of fast, and I put more energy into the one that had tenants, because the gentleman that owned it looks like he didn't do anything for the last 10 plus years. So I just clean up the walls, some patches, plumbing, and paint it, and now it looks a lot. I like the others. I painted the same colors, so I use the same colors and all.
Awesome. And I don't know, Brandon, do we go over that in the Gold Course? Because we make sure that all of our properties are uniform, just because it's easy. We run them all as, bare white semi-gloss, and, bare white semi-gloss. And we have the exact same Hacienda ceramic tile on the ground on each one, because it lowers your overall cost, and it just makes it a lot easier, because when a tenant moves out or whatever it is, boom, you tell your maintenance guys, or you can do it yourself as well, to go over and, you just slap a little paint on it and it's ready to go.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
We do have we have some material on YouTube now, like a walkthrough, and we do have another video in progress of like a construction walkthrough. So that will be added very soon.
Awesome. Yeah, I learned that because I bought my first house when I was 18. So, but I like this, I like the system, because before it was thinking about, am I going to make 200, 300, 400? Now it's like, how much more am I making? So it's a lot better, and it's just opening opportunity, guys, that you just don't know how has changed my life, and also my wife, my son, my mom. My mom is a widow. My father died a few years ago, so my brothers and I support her financially, because she was the homemaker. She never really worked outside the house. She had 7 of us, so she couldn't really do that, or at least that's what I think. and so this, the other day when I went in and I was depositing money and opening a business account, I was like, this is changing our life. This is changing our money tree. And now I'm looking, okay, so my question to you on this, based on what you hear and see, what would be the next step? I want to get into a bigger property or at least more so that we can double that amount, because at this point I'm like 1-on-1. My active income and our passive income is 1-to-1 right now.
Yeah.
So I want to double that so that my active income is half of the rent, and at that point in time things will change. And I don't need to get into more specific than that, but
yeah, no, absolutely. What I would do, because I was in the exact same scenario. I mean, I had a job beforehand. Right now, Jose, when you find a system that works, you just gotta keep riding that horse. If you have a horse that's a winner, you gotta keep riding that horse. There may be bigger horses, there may be faster horses, but if you've got a horse that is winning, you gotta keep riding it.
Keep on going.
Yeah. So, look, this is a systematic cookie cutter business. Each property, especially in Ohio, because your cost basis is so low. So, I mean, your mortgage payments, with taxes and insurance, just for, sake of argument, shouldn't be more than about $300 a month. You can kind of start backing into exactly how much money you can make on a per property basis. Now, are there other things that could potentially be more lucrative? Maybe, but you know what? You've already got 3 homes. We got to get all of them occupied. We got to get, once they're all occupied, make sure your systems, are nice and tight in place. Your website's there, your marketing system's there, and then go out and get another house, fill it up, get it going. Then go out and get another house, fill it up, get it going. Go out and get another house, fill it up, get it going. It's a systematic process. So you can start looking at this and say, hey, and set goals for yourself. In a year, 12 months, 18 months, 24 months, I want to have 10 group homes. And if just by backing into the numbers that each group home makes you $2,000 a month, I mean, if you were in Los Angeles, okay, $20,000 a month is a good amount. But like if you're in Ohio making $20,000 a month, let's be honest. I mean, you don't need to work anymore. I mean, that's plenty of money.
Oh, yeah. I don't have a mortgage, so my biggest expense is my food.
Yeah.
I'm a vegetarian, so all I eat is rice and vegetables.
Good. Yeah. So that's what I would do, man. I would just keep accumulating real estate, and I would keep setting them up as group homes, and make sure that the entity, the business that owns the real estate is different and separate from the business that runs the group homes.
Okay.
So you should have two entities, right? You're going to have the entity that owns and controls the real estate, and then you're going to have the entity, the operating business, essentially, that's running the care homes or running the group homes.
Okay.
And that's from a liability standpoint, you need that. But also it's good for when you do go into the banker to talk to the banker will see that, they're 2 different companies. But yeah, that's what I would do. I would just keep looking for more real estate, keep buying more real estate, keep turning them into group homes. And, in your head, you'll know each group home is going to make me X dollars per month. And you're not going to become a billionaire out of this business, but what you can do is you can set yourself up where you're totally and completely financially free. And, that's goal number 1, at least it was in my world, goal number 1, what can I do to become free from having to go in to work at 7:00 in the morning and stay there till 5:00 at night. And if you can figure out what your, call it your freedom number is, I know it sounds a little bit cheesy, but that's true, right? I mean, if it costs, back in the day, it probably only cost me $2,000 a month to live. So, it was fairly easy for me to it wasn't easy actually. It was fairly difficult for me to get to $2,000 a month. But once I got to $2,000 a month, I was like, okay, cool. I can expand this and take it to 4, take it to 8, take it to 12, so on and so forth. So yeah, that's really what I would do. Brandon, do you have any thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're almost seeing the light at the end of the tunnel here, because you're thinking about this stuff and you only have one home is at full capacity, and I believe your second and third property you're still kind of mid rehab on them, correct?
No, the second one is tenant occupied. I have 4 tenants in it, but there's room for another 2. And I have an appointment with the BA on next Wednesday, to show to one of the tenants. She's the one that's been kind of pushing me to grow, because she's got referrals, and I need to get another house.
Yeah. Well, so you have the third property is still kind of it's vacant, right?
Yeah, the third property right now, the electrician is coming this week, and the plumber to give me an estimate. I already patched it and put the windows in, but it's got basically the systems. I need the electrical done, which I got somebody who's going to be doing it very inexpensively, and I got a pretty good plumber as well. And I picked up most of the materials already. Somebody gave me a water heater, so I have a water heater for free.
Wonderful.
Yeah, I don't know.
Can I chime in real quick?
Yeah.
Jose, like, I love everything that you're saying, and the reason why I love it is because in life, when you don't have resources, you have to become resourceful. And you demonstrate that, like, in the full capacity of showing people, hey, it's not about resources, it's about resourcefulness. And I'm not saying that you couldn't go out and buy a $350 or $400 water heater, but the fact that you're out there looking to get a water heater for free, this is how you bootstrap a business. This is how you make money. And this is exactly what we did, and this is exactly what I did. I mean, I would get used condensers, used air compressors, used furnaces, used water heaters, the whole 9 yards. Whatever I could do to save a buck, that's what I did, and I still do that to this day. Now, not maybe to that capacity anymore, because now I'm more concerned with time. And oftentimes I don't have the bandwidth to go out there and hunt down a free water heater. We just go over to the plumbing supply house and knock it out. But what you're talking about, I really want our listeners to really hear that. Guys, you've got to be resourceful when it comes to setting up your group home. You don't need to spend $5,000 on furniture. If you read our goal course, you can go over to local auctions and get the furniture for free. Or you can get a couch, a $2,000 couch, you can get it for $5. So, Jose, that's awesome that you're talking about.
Yeah, Andy, and guess what? I was cleaning a house, and the guy says he owns a few antique stores, and obviously he pick and choose the high quality, all the items that had the most value. And I said, so what are you gonna do with the rest of the furniture? And he says, dump it. And I said, so you mean you're gonna pay somebody to? And he's like, yeah. I said, what if I take it for free?
Yes, I love it.
And he's like, would you do that? I'm like, yeah, because I can use it. So I have 2 garages full of furniture for that house that I'm fixing. I have all the furniture, beds. Awesome. I have beautiful living room, everything, man. I think the only thing that I'm gonna need probably is gonna be I bought an electric stove already from Facebook for $40. No, I got everything.
Yeah,
I'm sure somebody else will come.
This is exactly how you do it. And it sounds to me like you did the exact same thing when you were looking for real estate. You found deals.
Yeah. And there's more out there but I need to finish this one and get it going, and then I'll buy another one. But the same guys that sold me these houses, they're sending me texts and saying, I got another one. I got another one. I got another one. But I'm kind of holding on to not to go too fast.
Yeah, that's
been,
smart. Yeah, you don't want to bite off more than you can chew.
Yeah, so it's only been like a little over 6 months since I bought the other one. 7 months.
That's wonderful. I mean, this is just, yeah. I mean, I'm so glad that you set this up, Brandon, because this is a fantastic story for me to hear, but also, once we get this out there on these podcasts, I mean, for all of our listeners to hear as well, it's a freaking great story.
And I think Jose started kind of really putting things into action kind of right around when I came on board. So it was beautiful to watch everything progress. Yeah, it was great. Like, I think you got the New Year's special with the website and the coaching call, and that's kind of when we connected, and I've just been watching them make moves since then.
Thank you, Brandon. Thank you, Andy. Thank you.
Yeah, man. Jose, you are on the field playing ball, man. You are not a spectator. You're a player. So, give yourself a huge pat on the back for getting out there, and you keep growing this business. You're helping out your community. You're helping out your family, and you're setting yourself up. I mean, you're not just setting yourself up from a cash flow standpoint. You're buying the real estate as well, and that's something else that we don't really talk about too much in at Group Home Riches or on the Gold Course or anything. But that's legacy wealth, man. That's stuff that you can pass down to your kids or your family or charities or whatever you want to do. So it's
and so thank you, Andy. And with that, I wanted to ask you on money strategy on this one, because I want money for the next one without getting into much more depth. But those two houses, the last two, they don't have any mortgage. So what would you do if you were me to move to the next house other than saving? Because saving is going to take a couple of months.
Yeah.
What would you do if you were me based on what you hear so far? I know you don't have the whole picture, but I think you have a pretty good picture too.
I feel like I kind of have a decent understanding of what where you are in your group home career, if you will. Again, everybody is going to have a different level of risk tolerance. I look at real estate as good debt. It's debt that can pay you. It's debt that you can pay down. It's debt that you can write off, when you're doing your taxes. So there's a ton of tax benefits to owning real estate. You get the depreciation write-off. You get the interest write-off. But it's also generating you income. It is also one of the fastest ways to build net worth and overall wealth. So again, everybody's a little bit different. Everybody's a little bit has a different level of risk tolerance. But if I'm in your shoes, what I'm doing is I'm going to go out, I'm going to find another property. I'm going to put a down payment on it. The down payment that I essentially am able to save from my operating income from your group home business. And I'm gonna probably put 20, 30, 40, whatever you feel comfortable. You might only put 10% down, you might put 50% down, and then finance the rest of it with a local community bank. Start building up a relationship with a local community bank, and they're going to give you, chances are a 20-year amortization, 7-year term, call it, 5.5%, 6.5% interest, and that's what I would do. And then depending on, again, your tolerance for debt, you can start using the operating cash flow from that property to pay off the debt even faster. And man, with these group homes, you can pay off your debt on a property, especially in Ohio. You could probably pay off all your debt, in 24 months. That's probably what I would do. And what you'll realize is that when you have free and clear real estate, you have so many options. I mean, so I went to one of, I go to the credit unions because I like credit unions because the money is typically a little bit cheaper. So I went to, one of my credit unions, I don't know, a month or two ago, and just refinanced 2 properties. Actually, we closed on them yesterday. And, I got a massive amount of money that now I just have sitting around. And I'll go put it to use over the course of the next, probably 3 to 5 months. And I'm not gonna go out and buy a Lamborghini with it or anything stupid like that. I'll actually use the money for investment purposes. But what you'll realize, Jose, is let's say you get 10 of these group homes up and going, and it's cranking you money. You may start looking at other opportunities. And now, if you have 10 pieces of property that are paid for free and clear, and for sake of argument, they're all worth, $55,000. You got $500,000 basically just sitting there. So if you go over to the bank and you say, "Hey, I need a $250,000," they'll cut you a check in 30 days. And that's how you can really start making moves. So that's really what I would do. I would keep growing your group home business. I would, if I'm in your shoes, but again, everybody's tolerance for debt is a little bit different. But if I'm in your shoes, I would go to, I'd look to my local banker to give me a loan on another piece of property. And that's how I'd continue growing my business.
Yeah. And what I learned from these 3 properties is that now I wanted them almost ready. I don't want to do into a full rehab like I'm having in the middle right now. I want to just like the one that I bought on the first one. It was a little bit of drywall, a little bit of painting, flooring. That was it. And then the one that I'm doing right now, the last one, is taking a little more because obviously the systems are more expensive. So I don't want to. And I mean, at the end of the day, the one that I bought for 17 or 15,000, at the end of the day, that's already producing, and I've got collected rent already 3 times.
Exactly.
So that already paid for, like, I'm already on that one. My investment has already paid like 25% of the original investment in 3 months.
It's unbelievable. And that's what you're looking for, and you'll figure out really what your circle of competence is. Some people really enjoy, a full-blown rehab. My model in general is I don't want to have to spend any more than about $8,000 fixing the thing up, and that's going to include my air conditioning, my water heater, roof, so on and so forth. And the reason I don't want to is because anytime I go over about 8 or 10,000 fixing something up, other complications arrive, and you've also got the time issue. If it takes you 2 months or 3 months to get the thing up and going, it's just versus something else you pay $5,000 extra for, but you have it up and going in 20 days. And less brain damage. A lot of it is really dollar per headache. How much headache do you really want? So I'm in total and complete agreement with you, Jose.
Yeah, this is exciting, man, because like I said, it's a different feeling. It's a different feeling to know that if something happens, we already have enough income coming in. And I show my wife, because my wife was like, "Oh, we're not ready. This is going to be, a risk. My son is going to college and pretty soon this year." And now that I show her the numbers, she's like, "Really? Are we making that much?"
Yeah. It is, and again, everybody's risk tolerance is a little bit different. What I have found over the years, like, females typically are a little bit more risk averse than their male counterparts than us. But you know what? Without risk, there is no reward.
No goodies.
Goodies, yeah.
But it's exciting. I'm really excited about the possibility. And I know that I talked to the bank yesterday. Actually, I talked to 2 of them, and I said, "Hey, what is your seasoning requirement to refinance one of these properties? I mean, one of them is free and clear and rendering 1,800. What can you do? He's like, well, if it's the bank said, let me think about it, because a rental, we're kind of limited if it was your primary, but you already told me it's not your primary. I said, yeah, it's not my primary. So I'm going to go to the credit union and see what they have. But the banker, it sounds like the traditional bank might not be the best option to refinance.
That's something else. And Brandon and I have discussed putting a little course together, essentially learning how to talk to your local banker. It's not as simple as just going in there and saying, hey, here are my properties, can you refinance me? I mean, there's some art and science involved. So if you need some help with that, we can jump on another coaching call and we can definitely walk you through that if need be.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, this is awesome. I would say also, we can kind of communicate a little bit on email as well about some other niches to go after. One niche that, I didn't mention when you asked me earlier, as far as how lucrative they can be, is, and I may have touched on it a little bit, is going after a lot of these, high net worth families that have got kids with, drug and alcohol problems. So they're typically going to be referred to as sober homes rather than homes. But that's, and you're going to put some different systems in place, like a 10-step program, so on and so forth. But rather than getting your traditional $550, $650, $1,000 a month, you can charge a lot more than that.
I like that.
Yeah, there's a ton of niches within the space. But all in all, the great thing about it is that you're helping out your community and you're helping out your family, just through, the reward of helping others, but also the financial rewards.
Yeah, and I mean, some of these guys are like the first house. Most of those guys are veterans, and they feel good about it. They tell their stories and they sit down and talk, and it's like a family for them. I mean, that's the family that they don't have close. I mean, they created a community or a family, if you will.
Yep. Each house really is its own little family. I mean, that's what you'll find. And you will also find, it's not all, bubblegum and rainbows. You're going to have, just like you have, not fortunately my family doesn't have this, but, just like there are, family altercations and whatnot, you're going to have people that don't get along with other people in these houses. And you're going to that's another reason why it's good to have a lot of these properties. A lot of these group homes is that if one person's not getting along with another person, you can move them over to a different property.
Yeah. Yes.
But Brandon, you got any final thoughts?
I would say, just to kind of reiterate what you said when he kind of asked for kind of where to go. I think it's just about, washing, rinsing, and repeating at this point, Jose. Yeah. You have a referral source. You have a lead source as well for your properties. It's just about knocking them down, improving your systems, maybe getting a construction crew so you don't have to be in there patching walls yourself and stuff. But I mean, I can see it. You're like in the middle of the tunnel right now with you can kind of see the light at the end. So it's exciting to see.
And Jose, one last thing for you. As I was looking this up earlier on, and I'll text this, not text, but I'll email this over to you. In your local community, there is something called the Ohio Mental Health and Addiction Services Department. It's the Ohio MHAS. Are you familiar with that?
No.
So anyways, there was a community plan approved in basically the end of 2017 for the provision of mental health and addiction services. Okay. And I'll send you over the document, but in there's a housing component. So there's a recovery housing component. And I'll send it over to you, and hopefully there's some names in there that you can reach out to.
I think you guys.
You just so much now, Andy.
Yeah, I'm just seeing it right here. So
see, just all about getting in there, digging in, and yeah, just finding the right people. That's awesome. Any parting words, fellas?
This is exciting, guys, because I mean, like I said, this freedom, this is obviously by no means, like you said, millions or anything, but I feel like millions already, you know?
Yeah.
In my mind, because I like, let's say somebody comes in and take those properties, I know I can go out and do it again in a couple of months, you know, or in a different city or a different place. So this is changing. You know, and the more problems we solve, the more confidence, you know, self-determination obviously is there, and it's been there for years since I've been working for a long time. But you've seen that it's working and that there's money to be made or actually being made right now as we sit here, and just knowing that, you know, there's 8-10 people working or, you know, getting up in the morning to pay me at the beginning of the month, that's exciting. So my question is like, how can I double that? And so that's my little mantra. How can I double that? How can I double that? And I'm always thinking about how can I double it? And, you know, that actually got me to, clean a room that was for storage. The previous owner used it for storage, and I'm like, okay, it's not a lot, but it adds another. Let's see, well, not 5,000, but around over 4,000 a year. So I mean, it's just one room, but those little things. So I'm excited about this, and I might not sound like it because I'm under the weather, but I'm really excited about this, and I can't wait to see I mean, we're still in April, in May, but you know, I think we can certainly get another at least 2 or 3 more properties this year.
Fantastic, man. Well, sounds good. I'm gonna need to sign off because I've got the guys the guys calling me. But Jose, man, it was awesome meeting you over the over Skype. Super excited that you're doing well, and Brandon and I are going to be here rooting you on and cheering you on. And obviously, I just popped you over that email that I told you about as well. So take a look at that.
Thank you so much, guys. Really appreciate it.
All right, Jose, awesome. Keep doing what you're doing, and once you get the number 6 and 7, we'll pop in here for round 2, and you'll probably be self-employed at that point, I'm guessing.
Yeah, don't say that too loud.
That's great. Maybe. It's a big maybe. Well, we're gonna wrap it up. That's podcast number 2. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you are not signed up already, head over to grouphomeriches.com. Get started with the free training material at least. If you guys have any questions on that, feel free to reach out. We also have a ton of free information on our blog, YouTube, Facebook, and Instagram. Make sure to subscribe to this podcast, and we hope to hear many, many, many more stories like Jose's here.
Cool. Thanks, guys.
All right, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
See you.
Love you.
All right. Thanks, bud.